Hello and welcome. So today I'm going to be walking you through how I sent 11,309 emails using Klaviyo. We're going to be telling you how much I made, the exact email flows that I used, and the results of each of those flows. We're going to be giving you benchmarks across the e-commerce industry, and we're going to be giving you the email form and pop-up that I use to capture emails. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get into it. So this data is across a period of 6 months, and it's in the first half of the year, which basically means it should be the worst half of the year. Most of your sales should come from Q3 and Q4. And you'll also notice that most of the sales came from flows as opposed to campaigns. So I didn't actually do any real campaigns, or I think I sent 3 emails. You'll notice here, 1, 2, 3. The little blue bars are where the campaigns went. In hindsight, sending out a lot more should make a lot more money, and emails can really drive some performance. So this will just give you a bit of data about what you should be expecting when you're doing around 30k or something like that. Let's move on to look at the flow performance. So there you can see what open rate I got, what click-through rate, and how many people place an order. So only 1% of the recipients were actually placing an order from the email flows. This gives you a summary of the email flows and the campaigns together. Okay, let's move on and a bit further down to see what the performance of the flows. So you'll notice of 2.5 grand, around 2,200 of that came from 3 email flows, being the welcome series, the abandoned cart series, and the post-purchase follow-up series. It simply shows that you are best focusing on those series, especially as you're starting, because that's going to drive the majority of your performance. So I'll let you, you can always pause on these, by the way. So I'll scroll a little bit faster than you might be able to spot. Yeah, there again is the campaign performance. You'll notice the placed order rate is significantly lower in this respect, and the deliverability. There it shows 1.38 people are unsubscribing, and people are bouncing about 0.5% at a time. So overall, around 2% of the people you're going to be getting rid of from your actual email flows. So you can actually send around 50 emails before people are actually jumping ship. Having said that, people will become unengaged, so there will be a proportion of your email list that will become unengaged, and you might need to do a sunset flow or something to try and grab them back. Moving on, we're looking at the forms. So this is a pop-up, a 10% pop-up, and that 4.74% is actually pretty good. We'll go on to what the benchmarks are a little later on. So yeah, pretty good with that one. That said, the volume of the data is actually really quite low in terms of there's only 1,000 people open that, so it could vary reasonably drastically if we got a lot more data on there. The embedded sign up form was simply a form at the bottom of the homepage. It wasn't a pop-up or anything like that. It was just embedded onto the web page, and people click on it passively. But very, very few people did. So yeah, it's not a major thing you need to think about. Right, let's move on to benchmarks. So these are the flow benchmarks that you should be looking at. Here are what I obtained and what my peers obtained. So this will be the average of what they're doing. You'll notice, focusing on it or highlighting it initially, that the email revenue per recipient that I have is significantly lower than what the rest of my peers are doing. Bear in mind that this benchmark data is within my industry being home and garden products, e-commerce home and garden products in the retail sector. Okay, so let's move on. There's not loads to talk about. Oh, and actually, they also placed a lot more orders in my peers. So you'll see if you actually just up that one metric, suddenly going from 2.5 grand, you're doing 5 grand. So it really has a very significant impact off to the benchmarks for campaigns. And again, the one thing you should look at is the email revenue per recipient. So that 2 pence per recipient, let's compare that to the email revenue per recipient on the flows, 0.63, massively higher. That's really impacted by the welcome series, though. So if you remove that data, I'll let you guys enjoy that in your own time. You know, the flows won't perform quite as well. So it's mainly been propped up by the welcome series. Okay. So let's move on from the email campaigns onto flows. So this gives you a bit more data to go off and to see. All right. So there's, the top three flows are doing pretty much all the performance, but there are a lot of flows in the background, which I did, which didn't really drive anything. That said, I only actually set up a decent number of these, only really at the end of the period. So it doesn't give you the full analysis or the full idea of what you can expect. Also, again, it is in Q1 and Q2 this. So, if you're doing it in Q3 or Q4, should be able to get it things a lot higher than I got here. Let's go on to the welcome series. So you'll notice that the welcome series did, if we go back to the benchmark data on the flows, 1,100. And that first email did 1,000 of that. One email. That one email is essentially giving a 10% discount when someone signs up. So a pop up comes up, they pop their email address in, and they get a 10% discount. So going over to that to see what the actual email looks like, that's what it looks like. Although it says a pop up 10 preview, that would fill out to be a code, and they can pop that in when they checked out, or they can click on the button and it'll take them straight into onto the company's website, make a purchase, and the discount will be added automatically. Right, so you've seen the top performing one. So let's look a bit more at the data and the number of emails that was sent out. Decent number, decent number. So yeah, there was one other email which was actually generating a little bit, but it was only delivered 23 times. This is again is because I set some of these flows up only partway through the period, so it's not a full period. But and again, even in this welcome series, I don't think I set this series up straight away. Delivered 42 times, 90% place order rate, massive, massive. But yeah, so now you've got a bit of insight into that. Oh, let's have a look at that email, the one that's doing £99. That is this email. And again, it's just giving you a bit of background to what the emails look like. And for the customer, this is just highlighting some of the brands that we did to drive some sales. Onto the abandoned cart reminder. So with abandoned carts, there is the question of, do you have one email or do you have several? I have 3 emails in this flow. And when we move down a little bit further, you'll see that all of them are actually generating some sales. But the majority of those sales come from one email, being this one. So if we want to have a look at what that email is, we will go here. And I've shown you the mobile version. So it's actually a super simple email. There's not much going on. All it is reminding the customer that they have, they've left something in their cart and, they should go back and purchase it. Really, really simple. Keep it clear, keep it easy, and yeah, it just works reasonably well. Moving on to the post-purchase follow-up. So this is one of those series that I actually had a decent number of emails on. As we move down, we'll have a look and see that there is quite a number of emails going out, but not all of them are generating many clicks or many sales. So if we go straight back up to the top, you can see this email is pretty much driving all the sales, all the sales. And if we want to have a look at what that looks like, there it is. So again, it's a 10% discount. So you can clearly see that discounts work really well, or it's the top performing items that I found. But yeah, we'll move on. We'll move on. Okay, there we go. Right. Pop-ups. Pop-ups. So yeah, this was the pop-up that we did. 4.74% of people submitted it, and that was from just under 1,000 views. Again, this is really quite small, the number of views. This pop-up, what I did was I actually put it on my highest cost items. I didn't put it on every item. You are able to do that in Klaviyo and simply set it up. So the reason being is that I wanted to compete for those higher priced items, and a lot of the brands make it so that you have to put a minimum price. So I put the form where the brands dictated what price I could sell the item for. The reason why I put the discount on is I was able to capture emails, and I was quite happy to give the customer a discount. I just wasn't allowed because of the brands. But you are allowed to give them a discount if it is website wide and not dedicated on that specific item only. So let's look at the benchmarks, and we'll see that 4.74 is quite a lot higher than my peers at 2.82. Granted, again, that's probably due to the small sample size, I would expect. And here is the form that I did. And I think it looks pretty good. And it seemed to be very simple and work reasonably well. If we quickly look at the targeting to see when I did it, it was an exit page pop up. So when a customer was just about to leave the website and not make a purchase, this pop up came up and said, "Here's 10% off." And it also gave the customer time to actually have a look at the product and decide, do they like it, do they not? And if they did, they then go and purchase. So it wouldn't give them the 10% discount if they were not about to go and leave the website. So yeah, an exit intent pop-up can be pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. So I hope that was really helpful for you. And if it was, go and subscribe to our newsletter. We talk about loads of things about business, the news, the economy, and we hope to drive loads of value for you. Okay. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye bye.